imagine how that works.
Yeah, that's pretty good. I think it's probably due to the red light that you're using on your Zoom screen or something like that. It's like a red filter over it. Doesn't look like that. It's awesome.
It could be the lighting from the window.
Yeah. So, and there's Shawnee Carver. Happy Friday.
Hi, happy Friday. Thank God it's Friday. Good Lord, this has been a week.
Yeah, it has been a week, but a good one, I think. So anyway, Shelves and Jennifer and JJ. Hey, JJ, if you can hear me, congrats. I just posted on Facebook, but another big closing for the man they know as JJ in Telluride. Nice work, sir.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, you got the magic touch. And Julie, are you on? Because I just looked and I've got a huge shout out for you.
We are here.
Good. I just posted, sales over 500,000, and you've got Lynn did a nice one, and then Demetrius. Ooh,
Yep.
What? Walk me through that. $1.5 million sale plus last week. So
It's a buyer he's been working with. In our market, buyers don't. They don't have a sense of urgency, so you can work with a buyer for 2 or 3 years before they find what they want to buy, and that was the case with this one.
That's awesome. So congratulations. I know that feels good for you and especially good for Demetrius. So pleased to see him back. I've never met him personally. Really thrilled for him. So
thanks.
Yeah. If anyone's wondering why Eric's hair is a little disheveled there in Telluride, it's because they had 12 inches of snow or something. So I'm sure he's been out throwing snowballs. No.
I'm so jealous.
No. Yeah. Eric, that's actually a great move for you is to stay on mute. So, hey, another shout out, and I don't want to jinx anything, Eric. I was just kidding. Unmute yourself.
I did not go skiing this morning. I should have. I'm not feeling great. Jim Jennings did. I'm not sure if he's on the phone, but he had an awesome morning. Yeah, well, we just congratulated him on another $1 million plus sale. So he's had a very awesome week, too. And
how much snow did you get, Eric?
We had 10 inches last 24 hours, about 17 inches this week.
Okay.
Did you see Jennifer's face? Eric said we had 10 inches. She's like, yeah, because we tell you right. That's right. Hey, Godfather, I don't want to jinx anything, but I am going to share the story of your guys' really cool open house this last week. Is that okay?
Sure.
Yeah.
Don't jinx it, though.
Okay. All right. Well, everybody, thanks for being here. And it's nice to have the OMs as always, because I know, I always feel good if the OMs have some of the knowledge that I pass on, then everybody can benefit from that. And you will do a much better job of packaging it and distributing it to your agents. So nice to have you. Thanks for being here on the short notice. I'm sorry there wasn't a bigger lead into this. But we're going to get into testimonials. That was Lisa Stevenson, the OM in Montrose, her idea, and I think it's a great one. But first we always talk about, man, how do I get buyers? How do I get activity? How do I get things to happen? Like my farming isn't working, whatever. Sit open houses. Oh, Pam, why that face? Sit open houses, man. Here's the latest and greatest success
Robert, give his testimonial, will you?
What's that?
Have Robert give his testimony about why you should sit open houses, speaking of big sales.
That's where I'm going with this JT in the house. So Robert and Bobby Hermosillo, the Robert brothers, maybe is their team name down the road. They brought on a Vail, condo or townhome or something like that for 2.6. Okay, great.
2.2.
2.2, he says. Okay, and Robert's doing an open house because that's what you do when you bring on a big listing. It's busy time in Vail. And Robert, tell the story.
Well, we were, we had listing for 11 days, and we were just holding open houses daily for a couple hours a day. And on Saturday, I did have someone come in, and they liked it. They left, and I sent them all of our documents, HOA documents, all that kind of stuff. They started looking around Vail, also just going, wow, that Bishop Park is a really neat, intimate park. And they just started falling in love with it. And they said, yeah, we have, real high interest. Then a day later, we put an offer together, and we are under contract. Set to close February 8th.
Oh, well, that's a drag that it's so far out. Did everybody hear what that is? They brought on a listing. They did open houses. The buyer walked in, and now they've got both sides of that. So
I don't know how well they knew Vail, actually, so it was great.
Well, and obviously they didn't know you very well, which is a real value add.
That's why I have to close them really quick.
Yeah, get them. Here, let's make this happen real quick so you don't really learn who I am and then find another. No, I'm just kidding. But that's great stuff. And so here's the message, you guys, is that if you want to increase the people that know who you are, you want the chance to work with buyers. Open houses sometimes, and this was Pam's face, I think, are a total drag. Oh my God, no one's coming in, whatever. But I guarantee you, a buyer is never going to walk into an open house that you are not hosting. I guarantee you, you will never get a buyer at an open house if you don't sit open houses. And obviously that's a logic. That's like a Yogi Berra statement. I get it. But the point is, sit the open houses, and things will happen. And almost all of you have dynamite personalities. You're going to be able to get those email addresses, interact, and at the very least, they're going to tell someone, yeah, I went to an open house over here. The house was dumb, but love the realtor. Who was it? Blah, blah, blah. So you never know what conversations happen when you are not around. So if you don't have any listings, yeah, Lisa?
So one of our agents, Bob McHugh, holds open houses almost every weekend. And he put 2 open houses under contract within 30 days, the past 30 days. So 2 places went under contract because he held the open houses.
Okay. Were they his listings, Lisa?
Nope. No, he held them for other people, and he got them both under contract.
So this is key to me, is that you're sitting there thinking, well, I don't have any listings, or my listings are all vacant land or whatever. You have an office full of listings, and it's up to you to call those agents that have those listings and say, hey, it's Martin Luther King weekend this weekend. It's going to be busy in Telluride or Vail or Steamboat or Sun Valley, wherever. Mind if I hold your house open a couple times? Then we got Valentine's Day and President's Day weekend, the second busiest time of the year for us in Sun Valley. Agents need to be calling the agents that have listings and saying, let me hold this open, because those are your buyers that walk in if they're not attached. Okay, so put some gas into that tank, you guys, and see what happens. You have to do it in order for it to happen. That's all there is to it. So, okay, so great job, Robert. Now don't blow it, and everybody else can keep the good thoughts going for Robert and Bobby and Vail.
Jared, you do them. I just don't like them. But I do.
Yes, I know you do. Yeah, and as the MDs, we've been talking about the things that we have to do that we don't like, but we love the result.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a mindset that you have to sometimes you have to do the workout in order to get the biceps, Shelby, right? It's just like, yeah, I knew he was going to say that, right? Yeah, and sometimes the workout's no good. Sometimes getting up at 5 in the morning is no good, but the results are worth it.
So if I can say something real quick about the buyers now, the sellers, because that's really where the interesting thing is that I knew him from my Rotary Club, and he lives in South America, and he's from Europe, but he does not speak very good English at all, but he spoke Spanish. And so that's why I brought Bobby in, and I said, hey, Bobby, let's write this letter to this guy I know, because there was a recent sale in the building. And I said, hey, let's write him a letter, say, hey, this is what the sale was. This is a recent sale here. Would you be interested in selling? And amazing enough, he wrote us, or his wife called us 4 days later. And then we put it under contract probably 30 days after that.
That's awesome, and we will get to the testimonials here, folks, but I think this is such a fascinating thing. You can leverage any sale out there that happens. We get really fixated on CBDP activity, on my activity, on, oh, I haven't done a sale, so how do I generate any activity from that? If you've got a farming market, or if you've got a neighborhood that you keep track of and there's a sale there, send a letter. It doesn't have to be your sale. It doesn't have to be CBDPs. You're doing a service and saying, hey, did you know that 3 things have sold in the last 2 months at an average sales price of blah, blah, blah in this neighborhood? This neighborhood is hot. People want to live here. Are you interested in selling your home? I offer a free home valuation. Please call me. No obligation. I'd love to see your home, and we can have an honest talk about real estate in 2019. You can take anything that happens in the market and use it to promote yourself, to promote your stature as an agent, and be the person that they think of. They don't even know they want to sell, but if they see these numbers, whoa. So leverage the things that are happening in the market, even if you have no connection to them whatsoever. Okay? And so, Robert, that's just so many great illustrations from this one thing that you guys have done. You sent a letter because of some activity over here. You brought on someone who's got the fluency to speak the language to make it less awkward for you. You had an open house and the buyer walked in. Is it a zebra in the forest? Yeah, that stuff's not going to happen very often. But again, if you're not on the hike, you don't see the zebra. So, okay, I don't know. I know, Steve. You're like, don't ever say that crap again. The zebra in the forest is like, it's a 1 in a million. You never see a zebra in the forest, but zebras might be in the forest. Attaboy, Steve. Yeah. Thank God it's Friday. All right. Let's move
We know
into
how to handle it here in Junction. Go, Steve.
Yeah, Junction lives a little bit differently. All right, we are going to talk about testimonials today. Is that Mr. Almond walking behind you, Pam? Say hi to Don for me. Great guy. Okay, testimonials. Hi, Don. Nice to see you. Here's what we're going to talk about. This doesn't apply the same to every office. I know some offices have a little bit of a different feeling about how this operates. So if I'm telling you things and you're like, my office doesn't do it that way, that's a discussion with your MD or your sales manager and your OM, okay? I'm happy to be involved in it, but I don't want everyone to think this is a blanket statement for all 250 of our agents in all 7 of our offices, okay? But here, I've been with the company now 2 years and a month, and I think this is one of the best things that the company does for the agents in the markets where it happens, which is, I'm gonna share my screen, okay? Someone give me a thumbs up if you can see a big Sun Valley picture. Yes? Okay. All right. This is the letter that all the markets have that in an ideal world, and I think it works like this in several offices, when a closing happens, the OM prints this out, edits the stuff that needs to be edited, and then sends it to the buyer or to the client. Okay? And there's some boilerplate here, and it's the same for all offices. And certainly an OM or an MD could say, you know what, we want to say something a little different, because all the OMs have this document, so you can edit it a little bit. But it basically says, thanks for doing business with us. We would love to hear, we at Coldwell Banker feel you have the right to expect the very best service, whether buying, selling, or just asking questions, and we would very much like to hear from you. We've added in the last few months a thing to say, please go to Zillow, because you as an agent, your OM, your MD cannot do Zillow reviews. The client has to, and we know that's a big deal. So we added a call to action for that. In today's market, online reviews are critical for our agents, especially on Zillow. We encourage you to visit blah, blah, select agent finder, enter your agent's name, and then write your review there. And in fact, some agents, if they had their druthers, would just have the Zillow thing filled out as opposed to this. We can't do anything about that. Or maybe this should say and please take a few minutes to complete this form and drop it in the mail. An envelope is included. Okay, it's signed by Todd, and the OM will have typed the agent's name in here and the date, and he or she will have typed in the client's information, and then they will send it, and the client gets this in the mail. It's an actual piece of mail that they get, which means something versus an email. Okay, so this is an opportunity then for the client in the honeymoon phase for most of them, because they just closed. It goes out a week or so after the transaction's closed, to give feedback about the agent experience. Okay? And so is that TC in the house? Hey, Todd, what you doing? Hey, do you have a pair of glasses I can borrow?
I tell you what, he looks more handsome in the smaller frame.
He does, right? I think the dog in the background is cuter.
Yeah.
Are you talking about Josh or Josh's dog?
Well, Josh too, yeah.
Yeah. Todd, you should see my postage stamp. I'm great on that. Okay. So the idea, and again, it doesn't work like this in every market, and if you want it to work like this in the market, you need to talk to your MD, and me. The idea is that this goes out very shortly after your closing, when the feelings are still awesome and they're still thinking the world of you, and they send it back to us. And then we get them live and in the flesh, like this, handwritten, and at least in our office, and I think in some other offices, every sales meeting, we read the ones that come in, as long as they're good, and if they're bad, we give them directly. God dang, Pam, can you go into an office and lock the door? Something's getting a little...
Right? I know how to reel them in. I'm like, why are you guys not on this call?
Yeah, yeah. Oh, excellent. More craziness. Then we read these at the office meeting, if they're good, and if they're bad, or if they have, the agent gets it anyway to make sure they know what they can do better next time. So it serves a lot of functions. Okay, anyway, that's what goes out. And now the point of this fan club is, what the hell do I do with this? I can't enter it into Zillow myself, because an agent could then just enter 500 reviews. Oh, remarkable personality, stunning haircut, and beautiful sweaters. I refer Robert Schilling as much as I can, etc. You can't do that, right? So what we want to do is figure out, we want to figure out a way, or some ways, Robert, I see it, to leverage these testimonials. I'm going to give you about 3 or 4 ways, and in my follow-up email, I'll articulate what they all were, so you don't have to watch the whole thing to get the ideas. But there are some things we've done in Sun Valley to try to leverage these testimonials, because getting this and getting a good feeling about it is awesome, but that's a very ephemeral thing that doesn't do anything but make you feel better. It hasn't gone out to the public, and the whole idea of this is to get more people to know what an awesome agent you are. Okay, so one thing we can do is an Instagram post. I think this is a great thing to put on your Instagram. Is it bragging? Sure, but it's not bragging, because it's not coming from you. It's coming from someone that worked with you. And I guarantee you, word of mouth is so much more important than the ad, than anything that is paid for. So you want to, first and foremost, find a way to put this on Instagram and Facebook, I think. Okay? All right, so why are you looking at a Sun Valley thing? Instagram has a certain size that looks best. It's basically a square. And I will send this template to all of you as well, so that you can do whatever you want with the Instagram template. So here's what I would do. If I wanted to take this testimonial that came in about me, and it says, Pam is great. We have worked with her before. She's by far the most capable and competent real estate agent I have dealt with ever. Your office is lucky to have her. That's pretty freaking fantastic. So if you don't know how to use PowerPoint, it's a super simple tool, and it lives on most computers. It's basically some photos and some text, and you don't need to do much more. So here's what I would do. First of all, I would change this photo, and I would use either a photo of the home, or a photo of your area, or what I'm going to do this time, just for demonstration, is a photo of the agent. Okay? And so I'm going to change the photo. And I'm sorry I'm getting in the weeds here a little bit about Instagram or PowerPoint, but I think it's useful. Okay. Make sure Todd sees this one. This is back when my hair was more flowy. Okay, and I bring it out so it's the things. Obviously, you wouldn't do this because this is super dorky, but I'm showing you can use your headshot which you should have, and then we're going to just make sure that, okay, and then I'm going to change the text here, and I'm going to type in, quote, Pam is great. I'm going to obviously change the size of the font so it's not so huge. Pam is great. I don't have to use everything. I can't make up anything. I'm going to take out we have worked with her before because that isn't really germane here. She is by far the most capable and competent RE agent I have dealt with ever. Your office, oops, sorry. You get the idea, I won't finish it, okay? And then I probably wouldn't use the full name unless I had permission, but I would probably say what's her name? Emily K. So not using the last name is usually okay. Now I want to change this up. I'll shrink this a little bit, and I'm going to put it down. Obviously, this photo is ridiculous, and you wouldn't use a face photo like this unless you were super weird. And you can mess with things. I'm not gonna get too detailed with this because I don't want to go overboard. And then what do? Instagram uses JPEGs, right? PowerPoint is not a JPEG. So I go to File and I go to Save As. Okay, and I drop this down into JPEG. So I'm taking the PowerPoint and I'm turning it into a photo. Okay, and I'm gonna do IG 1-18-19, and I'm going to save it into DS stuff because I have a folder on my computer where I save stuff like this, and I just want to export this one. And now I have a photo that I can send to my phone, right? I would email this post to my phone, so then I get the email on my phone, and I download the image to my photos, and I post it on my Instagram. Okay, I realize a lot of you are like, WTH, right? It's easy if you do it a few times. If you do this once every 6 months, you are going to be like, so here are a couple things. OMs, I'm not going to say you should be doing this for your agents. You shouldn't. But agent, if you know of someone in your family or in your office that is adept at doing this type of thing, it's a 4-minute procedure if you get good at it, okay? Pretty simple. And I think it's worth the learning to get this type of thing on your Instagram. I really do. I would go so far as to say if you had a testimonial and an image, like it would take me 3 minutes to send it to me, I'll do it and send it back to you, and then it's in your hands. Certainly I want you to promote yourself, and if I can be involved in that, let me, okay? All right, so Instagram post is one. That same image can be, guess what? It can be used in Facebook as well. Plop the image into Facebook. Or go to the Facebook. Is it still up? Yeah. So sharing again. Another place, obviously, is Facebook. And so this is our Inside Track page where all of the videos that we get every morning live. And so you would do this on your business page, but let's pretend that I want to do the same thing here. I just got the most wonderful review from another satisfied client. And then Pam, your office is lucky to have her. Okay. What's happening?
Somebody's talking to somebody.
Is make clients happy. Call me to and I could put a photo in there. I could link to my agent video. I could link to a listing. You don't want to overdo this. You want this to speak for itself. So maybe you could put a photo that, because people like looking at photos. I would add a photo from my video roll. It wouldn't be my headshot. Maybe I would add this one because it's winter time and why not? And so I'm not going to post this because it's not my page and it's just an example, but then I would push post. I could boost this if I want. If there's a zip code I'm focusing on, I could spend $50 and boost this to that zip code and see what kind of activity I get. But that's a simple way to do it. Or I could go ahead and just add the post itself. Take out the actual text from the client because it's already on the thing, and delete this one, and then push post, and they'll see both the post that I made for Instagram as well as my own comments here. So those things are other things you could do on Facebook. So basically, I've given you 2 ways in the social media world to leverage your testimonial. Okay, you got it, Julie. You know what I mean. So I don't want you to be thinking, I can't talk about myself like this. You're not. Someone else is, and that's the best way to have your virtues articulated, isn't it? From someone else. So going back to this piece of paper that we sent out, this is why I think this is one of the best things the company does. It allows people to talk about how great you are, and then it's your job to turn that into something that is going to turn people's heads. Okay? All right. What else can you do with this? In our office, we've had a couple more examples, and these are a little bit more spendy, let's say, but still, I'd say a testimonial goes a lot further than an ad in some respects. So that's why I'm showing you different things you can do with these testimonials.
Derek.
We got a question.
Yeah, before you move on, I'm trying not to overlap social media, so different posts on Instagram versus Facebook, but I feel like a testimonial is probably worthwhile with both outlets. If you create that square for Instagram, does it seem to work well in Facebook, that same JPEG you created? Or how does that appear on? Do you reframe it, crop it?
Excellent.
For Facebook?
Excellent question. As you know, Facebook and Instagram are owned by the same guy. I think his name is Mark Zuckerberg or something like that. And so you can make a post on Instagram and then click a button and it goes to the Facebook feed as well. I advise you not to do that. So it's kind of germane to Josh's question. I advise you not to double post because there's more and more posting fatigue out there. And when I like something on Instagram and then I go to the Facebook and I see it there, I'm like, I already like that. Am I supposed to, if I don't like it here, am I a jerk? And to me, it causes static that doesn't need to exist. In other words, and this is just me, but maybe OMs or, Julie, is that Heidi that you're with there? Okay, so Heidi is our temporary OM. I hope I didn't just offend anyone, in Vail, and she is a marketer. And so Heidi, can you throw in on this question about your Instagram posts then being blasted to Facebook as well? What's your thought about that as a marketing person?
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
So with a Facebook business page, you're not getting in front of everybody who likes it all the time, every day. It's like a low chance. That's why Facebook wants you to buy ads for your business page. So I personally don't think it's a bad thing to post the same thing in multiple places because chances are if someone doesn't see it on Facebook, then at least they'll catch it on Instagram. And you're having a better chance of them seeing your content and not wasting your effort.
Okay. Excellent. So that got a little hard to hear at the end, but it sounded like Instagram is would you say thumbs up or thumbs down? Instagram is the better place to put this type of promotion. Is that what you kind of said?
I think that Instagram is a great place to put anything that doesn't require a link because Instagram will not take a link. So if you're trying to link to a property on Instagram, that's not really going to work. But if you want to just show a pretty picture or show the picture you just created, that works well.
Yeah. Everybody gets that, right?
Instagram's a great place for what?
Okay, so, and Heidi, please don't take offense. I don't think Steve's laughing at your comments. I think there's something else going on, but you're talking and he's like, ah! Like, that just cracked me up. So here's what Heidi is basically saying. Instagram is horrible to link from. Don't try to link a property with Instagram because you have to go into the bio and you have to that's not what Instagram is for. Instagram is for visual and text and not to link to things. And I hope it stays that way because it just makes it much more like a Craigslist thing where it's like, here's all you get, and it's great. If you wanted to link your testimonial to the property you sold or another listing you have or your agent video or whatever, that is done on Facebook because links are much more easy to do on Facebook. Okay, so if you want to link, and I would advise against linking too much with your testimonials because the testimonial shouldn't be a sales pitch, it should be a me pitch. And there's a difference there. But I'm going to go back to what I said at the outset here. I don't like it when people post the same thing on Instagram as Facebook. I just don't. I think it creates too much, look at me and I'm lazy and I pushed a button and now it's feeding in both places. I think you should put a testimonial in both places, but I would use a different look on the Facebook one. Say, add a picture and then type in the testimonial or whatever, but try not to double post. That's my feeling on it. Okay, now we're going to look at a couple of ads that Sun Valley agents have done or postcards with testimonials. And you can see where all of this is going. It's not rocket science. You take the stuff that the person sent you, you type it on something, and you send it either digitally or in the mail, or you make an ad. So here are a couple of other things that have been done. All right. Okay. Matt Christian, who's an agent here in Sun Valley, took out a full-page ad in our quarterly real estate guide here in Sun Valley. And instead of putting listings on or his production in 2018, and by the way, Matt had his best year ever in 2018. Nice job, Mr. C. He took a testimonial and then he came up with a tagline, guiding you home. Great. Did a photo of him. He's got his own logo. We've got the Global Luxury Distinctive Properties logo because he's a Global Luxury agent. We've got his contact info here, and we have the boilerplate. But this is the key. And you might be looking at this and saying, okay, that's a little bit of a busy page, and maybe you're right. But the point is that in a magazine full of listing pages, 6-ups and 8-ups and 1-ups and whatever, this stands out because it doesn't have a bunch of listings. It's got this really nice guy in a yellow setting, and then it's got some text on there. And text does work, folks. It does work, especially when it's interspersed with a bunch of other listing pages that just have photos and MLS numbers and details and blah, blah, blah. So Matt was really happy with this ad, and obviously the client was really happy with him. Cannot really say enough about the entire selling closing process. He's now helping us close on our new home, blah, blah. So this was an ad that an agent took out in a magazine. You could do the same thing in a newspaper, which is what this one is. Pam Colesworthy took this ad out in our twice weekly newspaper for $400 or something right around the holiday season. And here it is. She says, I just want to say, and thank you to my clients, co-agents, and company for a remarkable 2018. And then here's the testimonial. Okay. It's got our company info and it's got her name and phone number. So she's using this testimonial in a newspaper. She's also just put it into a postcard that she's sending to a farm. So she's repurposing basically the same ad for a couple of different uses. And then finally, Ned Burns here in Sun Valley. And why am I using Sun Valley examples? Well, because they work here in Sun Valley, damn it. All right, so Ned and his pug Roscoe, bless you, talking about the dog is cuter, used a testimonial for his farming campaign. He farms a couple of neighborhoods in the South Valley, and instead of market stats on this postcard or just sold on this postcard or whatever, he used someone's testimonial and sent this with then some information on the back. But this was his farming postcard It came shortly after the hockey team schedule that he sent out the month before. Being creative and standing out is what it's all about in 2019. So how do you stand out when people get tons and tons of mailings? Well, I don't know, but this was an attempt, and Ned's been pretty happy with his farming campaign. So another use of a testimonial there. All of these things can be done essentially on the Instagram template that I showed you. They're not always going to be the same size, of course. A postcard isn't going to be a perfect square, neither is an ad. But you can take the Instagram template that I send you and you can change it up. You can ask your OM, or you can email me, how do I change it to a different size? And I'll be happy to charge you and then do it for you. Yeah, thanks, man. So those things can be done pretty easily. All right, so we've covered Instagram, we've covered Facebook, we've covered postcards, we've covered ads in newspapers, we've covered ads in magazines. All of those things are designed to get people to believe that you are a great agent. And so I think it's a good use of your time to figure out which way or two you want to leverage your testimonials. Here's another way. They can live on your website. Okay, you can add a page to your website, and it's not the easiest thing in the world, but it's doable. And I'm going to show you Matt Christian's website so that you have a drop down that says testimonials on your CBDP website. So here's what that looks like. Okay, so Matt Christian, and he has his own domain name, and I encourage each and every one of you to change your jraymond.cbdistinctive.com to judyisawesome.com or whatever, so that even though you're using the same website, you can say, yeah, check out my website, mattchristianrealestate.com. A little easier to remember than mchristian.cbdistinctive.com, right? So if you haven't done that now, it's 2019. Get on the bus, Gus. Here's his testimonials page. Okay, he put it before home and all these other things that live on your website. And so you click on testimonials, and it's got 3 or 4 on here. One issue with putting the dates, and I'll talk with Matt, or maybe just go in and change this. He's not watching because he's never a fan. Is like the dated stuff. It's like, oh, well, what's happened in the last 4 years?
16 and 17.
Yeah.
15 to 18.
Were you in the tank those 2 years? So I would stay away from dates, but it's just a good thing to have here, because when people see your website, of course it's promoting you. That's why testimonials, folks, are so valuable, is because it's not you promoting you. Yes, you're the one putting these on the sites. Yes, you're the ones making the posts, but it's other people speaking your virtues, and that's why it's super, super valuable. So that page is I'm not going to say it's easy, but it's a pretty standard addition to the website. It's not a default setting, so it has to be added, and we can help you do that. When I say we, I mean Grace can do that for you. Judy, I can't remember if you have your own domain name. I wasn't picking on you. It's just you do, atta girl. Of course you do. Look at you. Anyone with earrings like that, and Pam, of course you don't. That's why you rejoined us, so that you can get these things. So that's another way to make sure that people are able to see your testimonials. Then what you could do is, sorry, I have to go back to sharing. Whoops. Just hold on. Just stop yelling at me, everybody. Then what you could do is, if you wanted to, you could take this page right here, Control-C, copy. You could go to your Facebook page, and let's say I delete this, get rid of that nastiness, and I put in, I Control-V, paste, and I love it. It says fetching preview. One of my favorite words in the history of the world is fetch, and Facebook uses it. I love it. All right, and then I get rid of the ugly URL, and the thing doesn't go away. It stays there, and then I post this. And maybe I boost this. Maybe I'm looking for people to want to use me, and so I take my testimonials page and I boost it to the zip codes that I think I should be working in, and then over the next 7 days, 12,000 people are seeing the fact that I have a testimonials page. I don't know. But what I'm trying to convey is that these these are awesome, but if they just sit on a piece of paper in your files and in your MD's files, then it's like buying a bottle of wine that you never freaking drink, right? You buy the wine so that you can drink it. I don't know, that's a horrible analogy, but you know what I'm saying. Like, you got to figure out what to do with this so that it's not just some cool thing that someone does and then it's buried away. Because, man, these things leveraged make a huge difference, in my opinion. All right, so that was only 40 minutes of me chatting. So, yes, who's got an idea?
Videos. Sorry, videos. Go ahead.
The bios that are being redone at the beginning of each year, make sure you pack those onto your bio. And your listing presentation.
So marketing is in the middle of getting your profile page for your listing presentation done. If you want testimonials on that, totally. All right, Eric. Bye-bye. Hey, you're a fan. I like that. Have a good weekend. Send it to Shawnee or to marketing and ask them to add this to your profile page. Absolutely. Or put it on the backside or whatever. But having this in your listing presentation, Julie, is a great idea. Thank you for that. Pam.
Yeah, I know. I have not heard you mention videos with our testimony with our clients. I have put those together because you always say videos, and that's what it's going to.
That was 2018. We're done with videos. You can ask Todd.
We are not.
Great point, Pam. So explain to me what you've done, because that doesn't make, like, what am I going to stand here and read this? Okay, push record. Pam, I am great. I have, like, what do you do? What does that look like?
So I took my clients and Scott from Beyond, Step Beyond, and we went out and filmed them doing the testimonial live when they were opening the door to their house with their new keys. And they told the story about me and how he gave me 72 hours to find him a house or I'm fired. And I found it in 71. Under contract.
Excellent. Were you in the video?
No.
Okay.
Well, I don't know. Maybe. I don't think so.
And then what did you do with it?
I still have it.
Well, is it a bottle of wine in the cellar, or did you open it and enjoy it? What did you do with the video?
Well, nothing. I know I'm technologically challenged. I'm working on it. Shelby's going to help me because she loves me.
You got the hard part done.
Yeah, that was the hard part. Now you take the stupid thing, you upload it to Facebook, and go, look at me. Okay, Pam, great stuff, and I'm so glad you mentioned that because I had forgotten that that's something you could do too. Go get someone. When is a client happiest? When they are closing, like that moment that Pam just said, when they're walking through the door for the first time as owners. Oh my God, their joy will never be more about their house. This is before they go and they see that the electricity bill is $400 a month because you have baseboard heaters. So get the video done now. Be there, have someone there with you so it's not awkward. Take another agent or take a family member. Let them know, I'd love to do a 2-minute video, a 1-minute video, whatever, and make it real. Be in it, okay? Introduce it, and this is one way to do it. This is Pam, and I'm with my very satisfied new homeowners here at such and such address, and they just want to say a few words. And let them talk, let them be giddy, let them high five, give hugs afterwards, cut, and then upload it to your computer and post it to your Facebook. That's an excellent thing to do, Pam. Less polished, don't take this wrong. Who's on the call that's going to take this wrong? No one maybe, but less polished is actually good. It means it's real. Like if you put a bunch of fancy music to it and a lead in, and it feels too orchestrated. Make it real. Make it a little bit silly. Do whatever. Think of the popular videos you see out there. They've got an edge to them. They've got an authenticity that speaks to people. Okay, so as Pam's saying, video is where it's going. I also think less polished video is where it's going in many ways. Okay, thank you for that, Pam. What other ideas do folks have about what you can do to leverage the testimonials that you get?
I've got a suggestion. When on the back of business cards where there's a spot for a quote, you could put a testimonial there.
Excellent. So on my business card, I have our mission, the last sentence of our mission statement, which is whatever we don't get done, the OMs will finish after 5. But I think that's a very good thing to put on there too, is a testimonial. Make sure that if you're using someone's testimonial in a public way, like we've been displaying, that you've got permission, or just leave it as anonymous. Oh, sorry. On the thing, it says you do or you do not have permission to use this quote in the associate's company's normal course of business. So that says, yes, we can use it, but if I business card or something, I'd probably reach out, and it's a great touch. Hey, do you mind if I use that quote, even though they said yes? And do you mind if I use your full name, or would you prefer your first name only? And they feel good about that too. So it's another great touch. So great, Lisa, thank you. What else could you do with this?
Hi.
Steve.
Have them posted on Google reviews. Ask your clients to post that review on Google.
Okay.
People look at that.
People look at Google reviews. So
oh, yeah.
in the form it says Zillow. Does Google need to be in here too? Like, please.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Post the reviews, or does it have to be the client?
I'm sorry?
Can an agent post reviews to Google, or does it have to be the client?
Yeah, but it'll just be yourself reviewing yourself, and I give myself amazing reviews all the time.
Yeah. Well, someone has to, so that's good.
I have, in fact. But yeah, you could post it on Google reviews.
Okay. Another place, Yelp. Yelp is sadly, or in a good way, I'm not sure, a place that a lot of people rely on. So whatever you are looking at when you're wondering about where to service your car or whatever, if you're looking at a review on such and such site, you should probably be on there too from a real estate standpoint. So obviously the list is inexhaustible of where you can put all this stuff, but the whole point, yeah, Heidi, and nice and loud because there's a little bit of distance between what you guys are saying and what we're hearing.
So we were just talking about how it would be cool if you could email the client and then provide them with the links to the pages you want them to put reviews on. So then they don't have to like write it down, mail it back, and then you have to ask them to do it again.
And so we've talked about that. There's a lot of a great idea in that, and the thought is to email the testimonial so that the person can, hey, Jen Peterson, how you doing? Nice to see you as always. That's great stuff. God dang, Pam's like the bouncer or something at the Grand Junction office.
I'm the magnet. They put me in the center. I don't know what they're thinking.
Yeah, no one
But I'm
does.
all right with it.
So what we found, Heidi, and maybe this has changed, but what I think we found is that the OM does not have access to the agent's Zillow link. Like the Zillow link lives with that agent only. And it's probably true that the OM could have administrative access or get all those logins, but to me that feels like Dorothy in the tornado, where the OM is all of a sudden keeping track of 30 logins to Zillow, and I don't want to ask the OMs to do that. But I think
I was just saying, like, provide, if you want to put the review on my Facebook page, here's my Facebook page, here's my Google page, the Google review, here's my Yelp.
Totally.
So then it's just one click, they can go there.
Correct. Okay. And so you're saying don't send this testimonial, just say, I loved working with you. I hope you enjoyed my service. Here are a couple links where if you have the time to post a review, here's my Facebook business page, here's my Zillow page. If I were an agent, and I'm not, even though I play one on Zoom calls, if I were an agent, I would have that email sitting on my desktop. Every time I close, within 2 or 3 days, the client gets that email. And I obviously say, hi, Tony and Larissa, or whatever. So it's not totally boilerplate, but I would have that locked and loaded, ready to go.
Hey, Derek, Eric and I had just talked about this actually, and so I'm happy she brought that up. But we were saying that send the nice note saying, you know, thank you for your business, rah, rah, rah. We're going to be following up with an email survey for a testimonial right afterwards, you know, or something like that, and send it out like a couple days after.
What do you do with a survey?
Guess just grab statistics of like if we were, or just a testimonial, I guess, like, so send them like a link saying, can, you know, we have a quick testimonial.
Yeah. I think the like, and I wasn't trying to be a jerk asking that question. I think that the narrative is really valuable. Like, because it lets people talk and it lets people say things like, your office is lucky to have her, or she is by far the blah, blah. Like, those words resonate. Surveys, first of all, I think there's survey fatigue in the world. And then if you get like 4 surveys and a couple of them have 3 stars, a couple of them 5 stars, I don't know what I would do with that. I averaged 4 stars in my last 4, like, then you have to say out of 5 or whatever. If you did want to use a survey, we just read a testimonial in our office meeting on Wednesday of an agent, and the last line there was, Jeannie is an 11 out of 10. And I'm pushing her to make that her new tagline, 11 out of 10. If I were to add a survey or a button push, I would say, out of 10, how was my service? And that would be the only one I have. And I would actually have an 11th button there. Even though I said out of 10, I'd let them click an 11 because just like in Spinal Tap, you know, turn it up to 11. That's the idea. So so what I'm hearing from Vail and Telluride is there a way to email this? And I think OM's there. Yeah.
I was just going to say, I think one of the reasons why we've done paper mailing is because the OMs will always have access to a mailing address, because settlement statements will always have either the buyer or seller's mailing address or property address outside of what they bought. The only place that OMs and other offices can correct me if this is wrong in your offices, but usually get emails is if somebody provides it with their IQ forms. And since we don't get that a lot, it's not a guarantee, whereas closing documents and the address is listed, they're always a guarantee.
Yeah. So that's a great clarification here. The other piece I would say about the email versus the snail mail, I'm willing to bet most people are more emotionally invested in the handwritten testimonial. We type so much. Oh, she was great. Really liked working with her. Don't use complete sentences. Thanks for everything. Send. Whereas when I'm faced with this and I take a pen, there's something more emotionally invested about that, I think, more often than not. And so if we're looking for those statements that have electricity, as I used to tell my students, I think they're going to be found in handwritten stuff more often than they'd be found in digital correspondence. That's just my, there's no research to that, but I'm willing to bet that that's the case. Plus what?
Hey, Derek.
What?
So I guess one of maybe the downfalls of doing it by email or having them post directly is what happens if somebody doesn't give a really positive review. I mean, at least the snail mails, we can evaluate, you know, we can look at them and decide what we want up on those sites versus, you know, some scathing review that you're trying to backtrack and fix.
And I know that's especially true in your office because you work with Alan, so it's a good point. And so really, really useful insight there as well. Is he there? No, he's probably at a cave. I think that's a really good point, Lisa, is that this allows some quality control. And if the person does have subpar or over par is the way I think about it, things to say, that can go directly to the agent. We can have a discussion about what happened there, and it doesn't reach the social media world and become something that, as you say, you're trying to, it doesn't become a little fire that you're trying to put out. Really, really important.
That was good.
So all of you, though, can, this is your business. If you want to take this testimonial, because the OMs all have this and it lives in I2O, if you want to take this and use it yourself, that's probably up to you. But what I would caution you is that if your OM, and it doesn't happen in every office, if your OM is sending this out as a matter of course, don't cause static by sending your own, and then they get one from the OM, and then it's like, dude, I already did this, right? Like that is a negative too. So make sure you have a plan and then articulate it to your OM and get their buy-in. And if your OM says, you know what, this works for us, then that's probably the better way to go. I know that this works for us. And I know that agents who have started using the thing publicly are getting some traction from it. Okay, so there's that. Chrissy and Shelbzer, do you have any thoughts or any ways that your agents have used this? I mean, Chrissy, I know in Bozeman, Jeff just sends out a photo of his forehead up with "Isn't this great?" on it. Is that working for him? Because Jeff's hair is amazing. Any other ideas, Chrissy or Shelbs?
I don't have an idea necessarily, but I guess more of a challenge. Just so many of the places that we want the reviews, like they have to come from the client. So it's just, I don't know, trying to ask them to post the review in so many different places. It's almost like, they're already taking the time to write the review, and then we're like, can you copy and paste it to like this page and like our office page? And so I mean, I don't know if there's any thoughts on that at all, if there's anything people have had successes with, or maybe picking the most important things that we want them to post to, or.
Yeah, and that's great. And when you said I have a challenge, I was like, well, what are you going to challenge me with, Chrissy? But I get what you're saying. We've had that discussion, and that's why we added the Zillow language in here, and it says "or," because we don't want this to feel like a chore for the client, because then they
right.
And so most agents honestly would rather have the client go to Zillow and do it, because then it lives publicly immediately. And then guess what, you guys? You can go to Zillow and grab that and do exactly everything we've been talking about with the Zillow review. It doesn't have to be put on this document in order to use it. As long as the review lives somewhere, so be it. So if we want to discuss changing this to, hey, please go to Zillow, blah, blah, and really make that the motivation and still leave some lines, we can do that. Right now, it's more designed to fill this out. And if you can, go to Zillow as well. We can change that so the Zillow is top heavy. So it's up to you. It's up to us, I guess. But
that, Derek?
Yeah.
Does anyone have any experience with the process of what our clients would be going through to give us a review on Zillow? So I'm encouraging them and saying, oh, it doesn't take much time. I don't really know that because we can't do our own testimonials. So does anyone know? Do you know, Derek? Does anyone, have they had a friend close enough to you create a review to, for you and say, oh, it only took 3 minutes, or did it take 20 minutes? And then they got spam email for life.
You can go ahead and make a review about me and let me know how that works. I haven't experienced it, so.
Has anyone heard any feedback about that? Was it sure a pain in the ass or anything like that? No. Do all of you know what your Zillow reviews look like? You probably should. If Zillow is the most visited real estate site in the world, and I think it is, you should probably know what people are saying about you on that. So if this is at all interesting to you, you need to go into your Zillow account. And does everybody have a Zillow account? Or do you have to create one?
You have to create it.
And you need to have a Zillow account. Maybe that's a future fan club. It's all about Zillow. But you need to know what they're saying about you on that. And then maybe we'll do a couple of test runs on what it's like, so we know what that interface feels like, and we can say, here are the 4 steps, clients, to go do a Zillow review. So maybe we'll put some time into that. Lisa?
Do agents have to have a Zillow account for anybody to post to that, to post a review?
Yes, they remember there's the agent finder, And I think if you don't have a Zillow account, which it should be free, it's not like you have to be a premier agent, but you do have to have logged into the system and be part of the Zillow world in order for that agent finder to find you.
Oh, okay. That's good to know. Thanks.
You'll need your license numbers, things like that. They do vet you. They make
It's
sure.
really easy. I've done it. Even I could do it.
Well, right, and I'm glad you said it. So Stephen did it.
I'm the low bar, so yeah.
Yep. Anything else from anyone about any of this stuff? Okay, well, this lasted way longer than I thought it would, which is a good thing. I hope you got a lot out of it. I will, OMs, what makes more sense? Should I send that template to just you all or to everybody? Again, I don't want to saddle you with anything that you don't need to be doing.
Just send it to us.
Okay. All right, so your OMs or whoever's running that part of your office will have the template, and if you want it, you can just grab it, or you can make it yourself. 640 by 640 is the design size, and then it fits into Instagram perfectly. Okay, hey everybody, thanks so much for being here today and for your good thoughts, and keep up all the great work. And I think that's it, right, Grace? Josh?
I have nothing else.
Awesome sauce. Bye-bye, everybody.